truth uncensored. My whole network viral. 12 and a half get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. I like my truth uncensored.
Person now, today, man, Wack 100 posted this video up here, of a pill bottle, and Wack 100, pretty much visited Mike Tyson's podcast called HotBoxin. Now, pretty much they're claiming that they got into a scuffle. Now, Wack 100 posted this. He said, pulled up on one of my legends at Mike Tyson to do his podcast. Had a blast. Shit got warm in the room when Mike wanted to address the Tupac conversations. This picture was taken beforehand. The interview got a little crazy and hostile, shaking my head. Going to be some conversating when this hits HotBoxin podcast. So hopefully it looks like they might got, that on film. What was your first thought when you thought about this? The legendary Iron Mike Tyson getting into a scuffle with Wack 100. A lot of people call him the new Suge. Say that they do that, but real talk, because he's always scrapping and shit.
Right.
But go ahead. What do you think about this?
What did I think? Well, first off, Mike Tyson, one of the greatest boxers of all time, one of the greatest people of all time. Facts. Even though he got a lot of shit with him. I mean, his baggage is definitely he's lived through his baggage. Let's just put it that way. He's a legend. And who didn't expect that to happen? I mean, he's also one to notoriously not take any shit at all. I think the last time we reported on our brother Mike Tyson, he was slapping the shit out of Don King about this time last year for feeling disrespected. So at any moment, any given time, if Mike Tyson feel like slapping you or not knocking you the fuck out, he's going to. And I ain't mad at Wack 100. He took a L. And I think a lot of people will with Mike Tyson. I don't give a fuck how old Mike Tyson is.
When you think about the nature of the dispute, though, because we know that you were talking about in pre-production, Mike Tyson, Tupac, great friends at the time. This was the nature of the conversation. If we know the history of Wack 100, he's pretty much had some ill-advised things to say about Tupac. In the past, I've been following it. You've been following it as of late. And Mike is close with him. What do you think about that whole dynamic?
Well, it's crazy because the last time we spoke on Wack 100, it was about a picture that he put up on Tupac.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
So it's like, the two is a very sensitive topic. Now, 96 and 97, it was after the Tyson fight. Right after he got out of jail, he fought that the White Irish Bowl, and then he fought, I forgot what his name was, but he fought Bruce Seldon in Vegas. The last time Tupac was alive. It was the last time he was seen alive. He died that night in Las Vegas. Obviously, too, Mike Tyson took that very personal, took that to heart, spoke about it on a number of different interviews, oftentimes getting emotional and talking about it. So he wasn't playing any games. He cared about Tupac deeply. So to hear the way Wack 100 came, the disrespect in the way he came at a close friend of his, it makes perfect sense. But you got to respect Wack 100. And even though you don't have to respect necessarily what he said, you got to respect the man by staying by his convictions, understanding that there's a potential ass whipping coming right through this. But I'm not going to fold. I'm going to say what I got to say because I mean it.
And he posted, the picture of the pain medication he has there. It's two men. He also wrote that, two men, he said dispute amongst men and just between those two men. He puts the West. That's dope. Like, me and you can get into a scrap in here or whatever, and nobody got to know about it. And it just says what it is. And we have in the past, what I mean, coming up, we used to fight all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like it made us better as men. This is what it's supposed to be. Nobody got killed. Nobody's running around, making diss videos, cussing him out, talking about his children, putting his address up.
Come on, man.
Nah, I just, he took the opportunity to say, look, I post everything else. I mean, look, this is what happened. Mike Tyson, he came at me. Now, we don't know if the footage has been captured. I think so, but we don't know. Hopefully, it will be, released, real soon. But we know Wack 100 has been one that always, like you said, stands behind his word and is not afraid to scrap. That's something that's missing. A lot of guys want to just shoot nowadays. So
he's an older cat. He ain't no young bull.
Right.
He's definitely not in his 20s, definitely not in his 30s. He's an old man, and he's seen Tyson during his fucking prime. He knew what was coming. But he's also known exactly what he said about Tupac over the years. It wasn't no need to sugarcoat this in that situation. When you look a pit bull in the face, it ain't no need to try to give him a bone. You got to get fucking thumb.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get bit.
Right.
And that was what it was. And I appreciate that from Wack 100, even though I disagree with most of what he has to say
about Pac.
About Pac in particular.
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for him when he can sit back and just stand by his convictions.
Right.
And don't have to sit back and eat crow because look, I meant what I said.
Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Oh God, and Sandman over there from Viral Hip Hop News. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, if you enjoy the content, please go ahead and give us a 5-star rating right now. If you would just take the time out to do that, we do appreciate that. Now, Sandman, you were telling me about some backlash that Joe Budden is receiving as of late.
Yeah, man. So obviously the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals get to go to State Warriors. Kawhi Leonard being the main staple and the reason and why they're sitting in the NBA Finals right now. So in the lead up to the NBA Finals, we get to build up, we get to talk in the backstory, things like that. So on the Joe Budden podcast, they were just talking about a number of topics, and one in particular was Kawhi Leonard, and his dad came up. Now, if you don't know Kawhi Leonard's history, one of the main things in knowing Kawhi Leonard, because he doesn't give out much information, he's real quiet, is his dad was murdered in 2008, January 2008 in Compton at his car wash. He was murdered, shot and killed. That got by Joe Budden today or a couple of days ago, whenever it was. And he went in. He said, guess who's a killer? Kawhi's dad. It's a fact. And this is what Joe Budden was theorized. Now, while he directly did not cite where he got his information, he explained that his pops was a shooter in 5 different publications. That's where he's seen it. He did his research and said that his dad was a banger. He said his dad is in jail for, I think, whatever. I won't get into it, I'm afraid. And the uncle is out here handling the business as Kawhi Leonard's manager. When you look at Kawhi and his game and his demeanor, don't it sound about right? And then you're happy to know that his dad was a shooter and his uncle was a shooter. Now, the host Rory went in and looked it up and said, nah, his father, Mark, was shot and killed January 18th, 2008 at the Compton car wash that he owned. He may have been involved in something, but he is now passed away. So obviously you would have thought that Joe Budden would say my fault, blah, blah, blah. But no, Joe Budden said, well, I'm sorry to hear that, condolences, but I stand by my word. He said that he was a gangster. It was what it was. Okay, rest in peace. That doesn't change my story. All right, so he's not there. But guess what? In the articles that I read before he left, he was getting busy. And to my knowledge, I think his uncle gets busy too. Now, his uncle is his agent. So he works hand in hand with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi keeps it in his family, which we all the way respect.
Yeah, definitely.
But did Joe Budden cross the line? Did he go too far? Now, we respect podcasts, go all the way in and all that. But we also have a line of respect as well. So did Joe cross the line in your opinion?
I think that when you say something about the deceased, that could be crossing the line. Children, things like that, people's significant others, that could be, what you consider crossing the line, especially if you don't know all the details of the particular story. Now, his father may have been into what he's in and whatnot, and who knows, you know what I'm saying? But the facts that we do know that he was gunned down, at his car wash in Compton. He read that in the paper and whatnot. All the other stuff is just hearsay, whether or not he was in the street and whatnot. And even if he was, did that justify him being killed? You know what I mean? I don't know. Depending on what he did, people say maybe, but maybe Joe Budden probably crossed the line with that one a little bit, man. Did Kawhi say anything, or he just kind of brushed it off?
Kawhi's not saying shit.
Okay,
but that's okay. And this is the whole thing, though, because to a certain degree, now we were raised in a very good household. We had a very good foundation around us. Right. But we grew up around some real motherfuckers, and we seen some shit. And we obviously know some conversations you have behind camera, and some conversations, okay, that's the green light to have on camera.
Right.
When you talk about this kind of situation, this is a great topic of conversation to have behind camera. Yo, man, I was doing receipts, so-and-so, you got busy, blah, 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 blah. But then when you kind of translate it into content, people can kind of question your credibility and question why and the intent on why you're doing it. And I respect the fuck out of Joe Budden, and I think he's a real nigga, and he understands the level of, okay, these are behind camera conversation and these are on camera conversation. And he may have crossed the line a little bit because Kawhi Leonard's uncle is sitting here doing business. Kawhi Leonard is known as a upstanding individual in the NBA, doing his thing. Yeah. He never personally puts any of his business out there. If he wanted any of this business out here, let Kawhi Leonard put it out there. Give that man who's still living, who's guarded as one of the greatest NBA players that we have to date right now, top 5 easily. Let him go out and tell his story, a story that he doesn't say anything about. For you, the #1 podcast, hip hop podcast, Spotify, and all that good stuff, to put this information out and have people talk about it, this is a little bit distasteful.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those things where, you know, over this career, long time, people are probably going to say some things they regret.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, I would like to hear more what Joe Budden has to say, you know, on it. But you know, that kind of is what it is. I think it will definitely be crossing the line, because especially if your information is, whether it's accurate or not, you just don't do that, because now you put yourself in a position where one of these guys can take that personally, and like YG was talking about putting hands on people, it could really cross the line, because now you disrespected somebody who's deceased. Or they could take it and say, you know what, we ain't going to say nothing. We're going to give you a pass on this. But everything is on the table. So my thing is, you just got to, you can say whatever you want, but consequences come with that.
This is my thing. This is what I'm learning. I'm learning this every day. People sometimes make mistakes in what they say. It doesn't matter how big the platform or how small the platform.